Boże w Trójcy Święty jedyny, błagam Cię i proszę, przelanej za nas i Jego świętych ran agonii na...
Dziewczęta, pani...
No wiesz coś?
Nie.
Pierdolę.
Nikt.
Nie ma. Może poszedł go...
The film opens with a disturbing and shocking scene. An old woman is standing in a bathroom, washing something in a bathtub filled with water. As she washes, blood seeps from the cloth into the water, turning it a dark red color. She's trying to clean away blood-soaked clothing, scrubbing desperately to remove the stains. It is clear that something terrible has happened. The woman looks exhausted and terrified. She seems to be hiding something very dark and disturbing in her house. Suddenly, there is a knock on the door. A postman has arrived to deliver mail or packages. He is standing at the front door when he hears strange noises coming from somewhere inside the house. The noises are coming from below, from the cellar or basement of the house. The postman is confused by these sounds. He thinks that maybe someone is trapped down there, maybe someone is in danger and needs help. He decides to investigate and help whoever might be trapped. He pulls off a wooden board that is covering the entrance to the basement and pushes the door open. As the postman enters the dark basement, he sees a blurry figure moving in the darkness. He cannot see clearly what is down there. He calls out, trying to offer his help. He reaches out his hand, trying to help whoever is in the darkness. But then something terrible happens. A force grabs him from the darkness. An unseen creature or person drags the postman into the darkness of the basement. He screams and tries to resist, but he is pulled down into the blackness. His screams echo through the house, and then everything goes silent. The postman has disappeared. The camera fades to black. 30 years pass. 3 decades have gone by since that terrible day when the postman disappeared. The film jumps forward to the present day. A camp called Adrenaline has been organized in the forest. This is a special rehabilitation camp designed for teenagers who are addicted to technology and smartphones. The teenagers who attend this camp are completely dependent on their phones, computers, and the internet. They cannot go a single day without checking their devices. They are addicted to social media, texting, gaming, and all forms of digital technology. Their parents and counselors are worried about their mental health and their addiction to screens. The camp organizers have created a unique program. For 3 days, the teenagers must leave all of their phones, tablets, and computers behind. They must surrender all of their technology to the camp leaders. They are not allowed to use any digital devices. They must go into the woods for a traditional camping experience without any connection to the outside world. The organizers believe that 3 days away from technology will help these teenagers break their addiction and reconnect with nature and with each other. A group of teenagers arrives at the camp and surrenders their phones. They are placed into groups by the camp organizers. The main characters in the film all end up in the same group. Their group is led by a counselor named Isa. These teenagers are nervous and excited about the adventure. They have never been without their phones for more than a few hours. Now they must spend 3 days in the woods without any digital devices. The camp organizers explain the rules and the schedule. They will go on a 3-day hiking trip into the forest. They will camp out in the woods, sleeping in tents. They will cook their own food over a campfire. They will learn to enjoy nature without their phones. One of the teenagers in the group is named Ulick. He is a clever and intelligent boy who has watched many horror movies. Ulick knows all the classic horror movie tropes and cliches. He knows the rules of horror films. He tries to warn the other teenagers about what usually happens in horror movies. He tells them that in horror films there are certain patterns and mistakes that characters always make. He warns them that characters in horror movies always ignore the warning signs of danger. He tells them that characters always split up, which is a huge mistake. He warns them that characters always have sex at the wrong time, and that always ends badly. He tells them that characters never believe the person who is trying to warn them. He warns them about curiosity, overconfidence, and how people in horror movies always make stupid decisions that get them killed. But the other teenagers laugh at Ulick. They think he is being paranoid and silly. They do not believe that they are in any actual danger. They think it is just a camping trip in the woods. They think Ulick is crazy for comparing their situation to horror movies. They ignore all of his warnings. They do not understand that Ulick is trying to protect them. The group begins their hike into the forest with Counselor Isa. They walk deeper and deeper into the woods, away from civilization. The trees grow thicker and taller. The paths become narrower and more isolated. They are moving away from any help or assistance. They are moving into a place where no one can hear them if they need help. The forest is beautiful, but also dark and isolated. As the sun begins to set, the group stops at a lake. They decide to spend the night by the lake. The camp counselor, Isa, helps them set up their tents. They build a campfire and cook food. They sit around the fire talking and getting to know each other. Some of the teenagers seem nervous about being in the woods. Others seem to be enjoying the experience. They tell stories and laugh together. They seem like a normal group of teenagers having a camping adventure. But as the night grows darker, strange things begin to happen. The teenagers hear noises in the woods. They hear sounds that do not seem normal. They hear rustling in the bushes and strange calls coming from the forest. The teenagers become nervous. Counselor Isa decides to investigate the noises. She grabs a flashlight and walks into the darkness of the forest to see what is making the sounds. The other teenagers wait by the fire, hoping that she will find nothing dangerous. After some time, Isa returns to the camp. She tells the teenagers that she found nothing to worry about. She explains that she heard a little fox in the woods. The fox must have been the creature making the noises. The teenagers feel relieved. The forest is probably just full of normal animals. There is probably nothing to be afraid of. They go to their tents to sleep, but something is watching them from the darkness. Two enormous figures are moving through the forest, watching the teenagers. They are massive, towering over the trees. They are deformed and grotesque. Their skin is covered in sores and pustules and boils. They look like monstrous giants. These are two brothers, and they are extremely dangerous. They are cannibals who eat human flesh. They kill anyone they find in the woods. They have been living in these woods for decades, hiding from the world. That night, while the other teenagers are sleeping in their tents, one teenager named Daniel sneaks away from his tent. He is accompanied by another teenager named Aniela. Daniel and Aniela find a private place away from the group. They decide to have sex together. They take off their clothes and lay down together. They are enjoying a moment of intimacy and romance. They do not know that they are being watched. After they finish, Aniela goes back to her tent. She goes to sleep, completely unaware of the danger that is approaching. But Daniel stays behind for a moment. He is walking back to his tent when suddenly something terrible happens. A massive hand grabs him from behind. A gigantic figure emerges from the darkness. One of the monster brothers attacks Daniel with incredible force. The creature is enormous and impossibly strong. It grabs Daniel's body and begins to bash him against a tree. It smashes his body again and again against the hard wood of the tree trunk. Daniel screams in agony, but no one can hear him. The monster crushes him like he is nothing. Daniel's body is completely destroyed. He dies in the darkness of the forest. When the sun rises the next morning, the teenagers realize that Daniel is missing. He did not come back to his tent. No one knows where he is. The camp counselor, Isa, becomes worried. She decides to search for Daniel. She tells the group that they need to find him. She suggests that they split up into two groups. Some of the teenagers will search for Daniel with her and the other camp coach. The rest of the teenagers will stay by the lake in case Daniel comes back. But Ulick tries to warn them. He reminds them of what he said about horror movies. He tells them that splitting up is a huge mistake. He warns them that in horror movies, whenever the characters split up, people get killed. He tells them that they should all stay together. But the others do not listen to Ulick. They think he is being paranoid and silly. They decide to split up anyway. Half the group goes with Isa to search for Daniel. The other half stays by the lake. The searching group walks deeper into the forest. They follow the path that Daniel might have taken. They call out his name, hoping that he will hear them and come back. They search for hours, but they find nothing. As they continue to search, they come across an old abandoned house deep in the woods. The house looks like it has been there for a long time. It is the same house from the opening scene, the house of the old woman who was washing blood-soaked clothes 30 years ago. The group decides to investigate the house. They push open the old door and enter. The house is dark and empty inside. They search through the rooms looking for any sign of Daniel. As they move through the house, they discover a basement door. They open it and look down into the darkness below. They use their flashlights to light up the basement, and then they see it. At the bottom of the basement stairs, they see Daniel's body. His body is mangled and destroyed. He is clearly dead. His body has been torn apart. The teenagers scream in horror. They realize that something terrible has killed Daniel. Something dangerous is hunting them. They try to run away from the house. They run toward the door, desperate to escape. But just as they reach the door, one of the monster brothers appears in the doorway. The creature is blocking their way. It is enormous and grotesque, with sores covering its body. The teenagers scream and run back into the basement. The monsters come after them. The teenagers try to find a way out. They search the basement for another escape route. They find a cellar window. Some of the teenagers, including a girl named Zosha and the boy Ulik, manage to escape through the window. They climb out and run back into the forest, but Isa, the camp counselor, decides to stay behind. She thinks she can get Daniel's phone from his body. She wants to call for help. She wants to get emergency services to rescue them. She tries to fight the monster, but the creature is too strong. The monster kills her. She dies in the basement. Zosha and Ulik run through the forest, trying to get away from the monsters. They are terrified and desperate. They run and run, not knowing where they are going. The monsters chase them through the trees. The enormous creatures are slow but incredibly strong. Zosha and Ulik are faster, so they manage to get away. They run back toward the lake where the other teenagers are waiting. When they reach the lake, they tell the others what happened. They explain about the monsters and about Daniel's death and about Izana's death. The remaining teenagers are terrified. They do not know what to do. They do not have their phones to call for help. They are stranded in the woods with no way to contact the outside world. They are hunted by two enormous, man-eating monsters. The monsters continue to hunt the teenagers throughout the night. One by one, they kill the remaining camp members. The teenagers try to fight back, but they are no match for the creatures. The monsters are too strong, too fast, and too experienced at hunting. The teenagers are like prey animals being hunted by predators. The monsters catch them and kill them and eat them. The death toll rises. More and more teenagers die. Through exploration and investigation, the surviving teenagers begin to piece together the truth about the monsters. They learn that the monsters are actually two brothers. Years ago, a meteor struck the ground near their house. The brothers found a piece of the meteor and brought it home. The meteor stone had strange properties. A black liquid began to seep from the meteor. This black liquid had a terrible effect on the boys. It caused them to change and mutate. It turned them into vicious, cannibalistic creatures. They grew enormous and lost their humanity. They became monsters that feed on human flesh. Their mother tried to feed them with animals to keep them from attacking people. But the brothers escaped and started hunting humans. The teenagers realized that there is no escape. There is no way to fight these creatures. The monsters are too powerful. The only thing they can do is try to survive and hope that someone finds them. But hope seems impossible. Sosha is the main character who survives the longest. She is brave and resourceful. She is determined to survive and to stop the monsters. She discovers that the monsters are actually vulnerable when they sleep. She finds one of the brothers sleeping in a house. She takes a knife and stabs him repeatedly, trying to kill him. The monster wakes up and fights back, but Zosha manages to escape. Later, when a police officer arrives to help the teenagers, one of the monsters kills him, but Zosha manages to gain control of the police car. She drives the car toward the other brother, who is walking on the road. She aims the car at the monster and accelerates. The car hits the monster with full force, running it over and crushing it under the wheels. The monster is finally dead. Sosha manages to escape. She is covered in blood and trauma, but she survives. She is the final girl, the last teenager who escapes from the monsters. She has suffered terrible trauma and has seen horrible things, but she is alive. She escapes to safety. But the film reveals one more shocking twist at the end. One of the monster brothers was stabbed by Zosha while he was sleeping in the house. It appeared that he was killed. But as Zosha escapes and the film ends, the camera shows the monster in his bed. His eyes suddenly open. He is still alive. He has survived the stabbing. The monster's twin brother has been killed, but this brother is still alive. He stares at the police lights outside his house. He survived. The horror is not completely over. This film, called Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight, is a Polish horror movie directed by Bartosz M. Kowalski. It was released on October 28, 2020. The film runs for 1 hour and 42 minutes. It is rated TVMA for extreme violence, gore, and horror. The original Polish title is W Lishi Dziś nie zaśnie nikt, which translates to Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight. The film stars Julia Wieniawa-Narkiewicz as Zosia, Michał Lupa as Julek, Wiktoria Gąsiewska as Aniela, and other cast members. The film was very successful on Netflix. It became one of the most rented and watched titles on Netflix soon after its release. It appeared in the top 10 most-watched films on the platform. The movie received mixed reviews from critics. Some reviewers praised the practical effects and the gore. Others felt that the film was too similar to other horror movies like Wrong Turn and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Some critics felt that the film followed horror movie cliches too closely, even though one character in the film points out all the horror cliches. The film is known for its practical effects and makeup. The monsters are created using practical costume effects and prosthetics. The creatures look grotesque and disgusting, with sores and pustules covering their skin. The violence is very graphic and gory. The deaths are shown in detail. The filmmakers do not hold back on the violence. The practical effects are well made and convincing. Many viewers praise the quality of the monster designs and the gore effects. Because of the success of the first film, Netflix commissioned a sequel. In March 2021, it was announced that production had started on Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight Part 2. The sequel was developed and directed by the same filmmakers. The film proved that there was an audience for Polish horror films. It helped show that horror can come from countries outside the United States and United Kingdom. The film has themes about technology addiction and how being disconnected from the internet can be both good and bad. It has themes about friendship and sacrifice. It has themes about trauma and survival. The characters are forced to face their fears without the comfort of their phones and technology. They are forced to rely on each other and work together if they want to survive. The film is a traditional slasher film with modern themes about technology addiction. Let me know your thoughts about this horror film in the comments section below. Also, subscribe to this channel for more horror movie recaps like this.